I hope you are safe and healthy out there. I am here with my new video of the chapter Respiratory System and part 1. Today I am going to explain to you the complete detail of respiratory system, how it works and what is the mechanism behind the breathing. So first of all, I would like to explain the passage, the respiratory organs involved in the respiratory system. So come here, the first organ what we see is nose, through which we inhale. Nose is subdivided into two nostrils. Each nostril is having the hair-like hairs inside it which work as a trapping agent for the germs and dust, and the whole nostril lining, the nasal lining, is having the cells which produce mucus, which keep the air moist and the inner lining moist. Then after the air which entered through the oxygenated air which entered through the nose pass into the pharynx, and pharynx is just lying ahead to the nasal cavity above the esophagus. So pharynx is the common passage for both the food and the air. Pharynx will continue with the larynx, which is also called as a voice box, because larynx contains the vocal cords. Vocal cords are made up of a cartilage which vibrate, and when we speak, we can hear the voice. So larynx is the voice box. Larynx is covered with the lid called as epiglottis. When we eat food, it will close the larynx. So then after the air passes on to trachea. Students, trachea is, as you can see this diagram, trachea is covered with the C-shaped bands of cartilage which will give support to the trachea so that it will not collapse. So trachea is the main passage through which air goes inside both the lungs. Trachea is divided into two parts, two bronchi. Each bronchi is subdivided into further bronchioles. So here you can see bronchi and bronchioles. Bronchi and bronchioles are the tubes, fine tubes which act as a passage for the air to go inside the main point, which each bronchi end up in an alveoli. So if you will see here, each bronchi end up with a alveoli, a sac, where exchange of gases occurs. Students, what happens inside the alveoli is, all the alveoli are lined up with capillaries. Capillaries are carrying deoxygenated blood. The deoxygenated blood passes around the alveoli, and inside the alveoli is oxygenated air. So oxygen gets in the blood and the blood becomes red. Oxyhemoglobin is formed and carbon dioxide comes out and get inside the alveoli to exhale. So there the carbon dioxide and oxygen get exchanged. Now when oxygen is filled in the blood, so the oxygen rich blood is supplied to the body. Okay, so exchange of gases mainly occurs in the alveoli. Alright, so now we are saying that alveoli are the main place, the major place where all the exchange of gases occurs. Students, as you can see there, we are having two lungs, left lung and right lung. Left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung. As you can see, there are a great number of alveoli inside the lungs. Each lung is protected externally by the rib cage. Each lung is protected externally by the rib cage, and we have a rib cage made up of 12 pairs of ribs. All the ribs are further supported by the intercostal muscles. Okay, and all the lungs are covered by a double-layered membrane known as pleural membrane. So beneath the lungs, so we are just reading till we have done till lungs. Beneath the lungs is a dome-shaped muscle known as diaphragm, which will play an essential role in the process of breathing. So what happens here is, if we will study the mechanism of breathing, students, breathing is then divided into two parts, inhalation and exhalation. As the name indicates, in, getting in, ex, going out, giving out. So inhalation is the process of taking in oxygen-rich air. Exhalation is the process of giving out carbon dioxide-rich air. So first of all, the definitions must be very much clear in your mind. Inhalation means we breathe in oxygen-rich air. Exhalation means we give out carbon dioxide-rich air. So there are some basic differences in the mechanism of breathing. Students, just listen and watch carefully. When we inhale, diaphragm and intercostal muscles contract. And what happens after contraction? The volume of the chest increases. What happens is the diaphragm muscle contracts and becomes flat, and the intercostal muscles contract and the volume of the chest cavity increases. You can see here. So ribs come upward and volume of the chest cavity increases. As you know the law that where the pressure is less, air goes inside that. So air moves inside the lungs with the pressure. That is why we do inhalation. And on the contrary, when we exhale, you can feel that. You just feel relaxed at that time. Diaphragm muscles and intercostal muscles both will relax. Chest cavity will come back to the normal position, and what happens is the air inside the lungs comes outside. That is exhalation. So this is a simple process of inhalation and exhalation. In means taking in the oxygen-rich air. Exhalation means giving out the carbon dioxide-rich air. Okay. Now the next point comes is, ma'am, what do you say? Breathing and respiration both are the same processes? No, there is a big difference between breathing and respiration. Breathing, we breathe in, we breathe out. Voluntary as well as involuntary. First of all, I will explain this. Voluntary means when you do by your own wish, and involuntary means by its own. So breathing when we are sleeping, breathing is done at that time also. So breathing is both voluntary as well as involuntary, but respiration is totally involuntary. Why? Because respiration is occurring at the site of cells. Respiration is occurring inside the cells. We are not doing it. It is done by its own. So breathing and respiration are two different terms. Breathing is a physical process. It can be done voluntary, it can be done involuntary, but respiration is a chemical process in which food is broken down and energy is released. So next point, there is no energy released no energy is released during the breathing process, but on the contrary, in the respiration, energy is released. No enzymes are needed in the process of breathing, but in the contrary, enzymes are needed in the chemical process of respiration. Okay. So in the case of respiration, we can say that in the case of respiration, it's a chemical process. Energy is released in this process. Enzymes are required in this process. This process is only involuntary, and the site of respiration is only the cells, and inside the cells it occurs in the mitochondria, a cell organelle. Respiration occurs in mitochondria of the cell. Okay, so it is very important process of the body because it gives us energy to do work. Alright, so now it's very clear about the breathing process and respiration process. I think with this you have this diagram and the process very much clear in your mind. And if you are having any doubt or any query, please write in the comment section. I will do everything with your queries. I will answer those, and and I am very happy and delighted with all my students following me. They are giving me marvelous results. Thank you and have a nice